Welcome to English for Arabs. English for Arabs is English for all. Let's get started with unit number 11, part 2. The words. 8. Exercise number 8. A major. The most important subject that a college or university student is studying. The most important subject that a college or university student is studying. 10. A promotion. A promotion. A raise. A raise. S-A-Z. A promotion. A raise. 11. The dumbest. The dumbest. Be silent. The dumbest. The most stupid. Determined to. Insist on. Insist on. Verb plus ing. Determined to. Insist on. 12. Consequences. Outcomes. Results. Results. Cancel. Cancelled. Cancelled. Double L. This is British, but in American, cancel, cancelled, cancelled. 1 L. American, British, double L. 13. Milestone. A milestone, an important event. Milestone, important event. Ancient. Ancient, very old, very old. Yeah, sound between Y and O. Very old. Pharaoh. Pharaoh. H silent, PH as F, as F sound. Pharaoh. King of ancient Egypt. This is a title. King of ancient Egypt. Small bed for baby. Rock. Rocked, rocked. Move backwards and forwards or from side to side. Rock, move from side to side. Here this is as a verb, rock. But of course a rock as a noun means a stone. A big stone. American, we make the O as a sound, rock. Rock. Move from one side to another. Move from side to side. Sense. Sense, ability. Ability. Sight, when we say we have 5 senses. So this is means sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. Scatter. Scatter, scattered, scattered. Scatter, through. Through. TH, through. Attendee. 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 A person who attends. Passage. Time. Plenty of. Plenty of. A lot of. More than enough. Multi-layered. 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 Different layers. Hurl. Hurl. To throw in different directions. Vine. A type of plant which climbs. Be silent, climb. Which climbs or grows along the ground. Vine. A type of plant which climbs or grows along the ground. Demonstrate. To show. Spectacular. Spectacular. Very exciting to look at. Very exciting to look at. T as soft D. Very exciting to look at. Now, let's get started.
Page 75, Exercise 7, Perspectives. I should have. Part A. Listen to Maya Misery talk about her regrets. Do you have any similar regrets?
I should have studied something more practical while I was in college. I shouldn't have waited so long to choose a major. If I'd listened to my mother, I would have learned to play a musical instrument. If I hadn't wasted so much money last year, I would have moved into my own apartment by now. If I'd been more ambitious in college, I could have learned to speak another language. If I hadn't been so irresponsible, I could have gotten better grades.
Exercise number 7. I should have. Listen to Maya talk about her regrets. Do you have any similar regrets? What's a regret? A regret? Something that you're sad about. Example, I should have studied something more practical while I was in college. While I was in university, I should study something practical, effective, not theoretical. I shouldn't have waited so long to choose a major. I shouldn't have waited so long time to choose a major. What's a major? A major is a subject that a student is studying in university or college. This is a major. If I'd listened to my mother, I'd here means I had. If I had listened to my mother, I would have learned to play a musical instrument. A musical instrument such as the piano, the violin, the guitar. If I hadn't wasted so much money last year, I would have moved into my own apartment by now. If I hadn't wasted so much money, to spend much money for nothing, I would have moved into my own apartment, my own flat. If I'd been more ambitious in college, ambitious. You have strong desire to succeed. I could have learned to speak another language. If I hadn't been so irresponsible, not responsible, I could have gotten better grades. Gotten, British, American, gotten, T a soft D. So if I hadn't been so irresponsible, I could have gotten better grades, better marks. So these are some regrets for Maya. What do you suggest to help Maya feel better? Do you have any suggestions for Maya? Please tell the class. Exercise number 8, grammar focus.
Page 75, Exercise 8, Grammar Focus. Expressing regret and describing hypothetical situations. Use should have plus the past participle to express regret.
I should have studied something more practical when I was in college. I shouldn't have waited so long to choose a major.
Use would have plus the past participle to express probable outcomes in hypothetical situations. Use could have plus the past participle to express possible outcomes.
If I'd listened to my mother, I would have learned to play a musical instrument. If I hadn't been so irresponsible, I could have gotten better grades.
Expressing regret and describing hypothetical situations. Use should have plus the past participle to express regret. I should have studied something more practical when I was in college. I shouldn't have waited so long to choose a major. To describe here a regret that you're sad about something that happened in the past, you can use subject like I, should, shouldn't, have plus past participle, PP, studied, waited. To describe hypothetical situation, I can use would have plus the past participle to express the outcomes, the possible outcomes. Outcomes, results in hypothetical situations. Or I can use could have plus the past participle to express possible outcomes. So you can use would, could have plus the past participle to express possible outcomes, possible results. Example: if I had listened to my mother, I would have learned to play a musical instrument. If I had listened to my mother, I would have learned to play a musical instrument. If I hadn't been, this is British been, American been. If I hadn't been so irresponsible, I could have gotten better grades. British gotten, American gotten. Better, T soft D. So here we use the third conditional of F. Subject had plus PP, past participle. The second sentence, subject could, would, have plus past participle. Now,
so this grammar is called the past modal, and it's for the hypothetical past, like we said, okay? And a past modal basically consists of a modal verb, okay, of some type. Then we have the auxiliary verb have, and then we have a past participle, okay? So there's three parts to this. A past modal has three parts. It has a modal, then the auxiliary verb have, then the past participle as the principal verb. So what type of modals do we use? Well, let's take a look. We have three that we use normally. For example, should, could, and would for the hypothetical pasts. Should we use mostly for regrets and suggestions. Okay? Could we use for possibilities. And would we use for intentions. Okay. So we use should, could, and would. Should, could, and would, plus an auxiliary have, plus the past participle, and that's the past modal. Now, quickly let's look at some contractions that we can make with our past modals. Okay? So, we use the contraction with our modal verb and on our auxiliary verb. For example, should and have, we can put those together and make the contraction should have. Again, repeat with me. Should have. Should have. Good. And we can make the contraction with could and have, okay, to make the contraction could have. Again, repeat with me. Could have. Could have. Right. And again, we can make a contraction with would and have, and it sounds like this. Would have. Would have. Good. So those are the contractions that we can make with our modal and our auxiliary verb. So let's take a look at a few examples, okay? Let's set a situation up. For example, there was a party last weekend. There was a party last weekend, okay? So let's look at some ideas that we use with past modals. For example, I didn't go to the party last weekend. And my regret, okay, I'm going to use should. So I say I should have gone to the party. Again, I'm using my modal verb should, my auxiliary verb with have in the contraction here, and the past participle gone. I should have gone to the party. That means I didn't go, but my regret is I should have gone. Or maybe I did go to the party. I did go to the party, but it was a bad idea for some reason, so I can use a negative. For example, I shouldn't have gone to the party. Again, this is the negative with the modal shouldn't. have for the auxiliary verb, and gone for the past participle, right? So should for the regrets. Let's take a look with possibility. Remember possibility, I use things like could, or maybe in the negative couldn't. So maybe it was not possible for me to go to the party. So another way to say this is saying a past modal, I could have gone to the party. Or, for example, I have my modal verb could, my auxiliary verb have, and the past participle still, right? Or, it wasn't possible for me to go to the party. I couldn't have gone to the party, right? So the negative with couldn't, auxiliary verb, and the past participle, right? So possibility, could and couldn't. Now let's take a look at our last ones, okay? For example, with an intention, okay? So it's a hypothetical idea. I would have gone to the party if something else happened. Or, I wouldn't have gone to the party if something else had happened. So, these, right, are about intentions when I use would, okay? But the main idea that you need to understand about the past modal is that you always are using some type of a modal verb. You always are going to use the auxiliary verb have, and you're always going to use some type of a past participle, right? So we always have three parts to this: modal, past participle, or sorry, the auxiliary verb, and number three, the past participle. Okay. So now you've finished the first half of the grammar explanation. We're going to continue with Unit 11, and we're going to talk about our third conditional, okay? Now the third conditional is a hypothetical past. It's when we imagine the past in a different way. So let's take a look at what we're talking about. Alright, so remember we said the third conditional is imagining the past in a different way. So we start with a hypothetical condition. We always use if to set a condition. And when we're thinking about the past in a hypothetical way, we used the past perfect. So remember, the past perfect is had for the auxiliary verb and the past participle for our principal verb. And that's the hypothetical condition. Then in our hypothetical result, we need to use a past modal. And if we remember, a past modal is always some type of a modal verb, have for the auxiliary, and for the past participle for the principal verb. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's read this. It says, if I had studied for the test, hypothetical condition, I would have passed, hypothetical result. Right? Or let's take a look at the negative sentence. If I hadn't played video games, I could have studied more. Okay? So remember, our condition, hypothetically, we always use the past perfect. For example, if I had studied for the test, that's the past perfect. Or if I hadn't played, that's the past perfect, right, for our hypothetical condition. And the hypothetical result is the past modal. I would have passed, past modal. Or I could have studied, that's also a past modal. Okay? So, let's take a look at what we can do with this grammar, okay? Notice that when I use my hypothetical condition first, right, if I had studied for the test, I use that comma to separate that from my hypothetical result. I would have passed, right? But I can switch the order of these, and I can use my hypothetical result first, and then talk about the condition second, okay? But if I do this, okay, I no longer need these commas. I'm going to take those commas away. So if my hypothetical result is first, I don't need to use the comma. So here I can read it like this. I would have passed if I had studied for the test. Or I could have studied more if I hadn't played video games. So again, the order of the third conditional is not necessarily important, but maintaining the grammar for each of the hypothetical result and the hypothetical condition is. That's very important.
A. For each statement, write a sentence expressing regret. Then talk with a partner about which statements are true for you. So here we have 5 sentences, and we try, okay, to answer them by using F or should have plus PP. So this is the third condition of F, or you can use should have plus PP. Example, I was very rebellious. I was very rebellious when I was younger. So you regret that. You're sad about that. So you say number 1, I should have been less rebellious when I was younger. Another answer, I should have been obedient. I should have been obedient when I was younger, to obey the orders of your mom and dad. 2, I didn't pay attention to what I ate as a kid. So here, you regret that. I should have paid attention to what I ate as a kid. Three, I didn't make many friends in high school. I didn't make many friends in high school. I should have made many friends in high school. I was very argumentative as a teenager. Argumentative. T can be soft T. Argumentative. He would like to debate. I should have been less argumentative as a teenager. I shouldn't have been argumentative as a teenager. I was too naive when I started looking for my first job. I was too naive when I started looking for my first job. I shouldn't have been too naive when I started looking for my first job. B. Match the clause in column A with the information in column B. So here you match A with B. We have 5 sentences and the second part is B. So to answer this exercise, you should start to answer by yourself first, then listen and check your answers. 1. If I'd listened to my parents, I would have made more pragmatic decisions. Practical decisions. If I'd listened to my parents, I would have made more pragmatic decisions. So number 1, C. Number 2, if I'd been more active, I wouldn't have gained all this weight. So number 2, D. 3, if I'd been more ambitious, I could have gotten a promotion. A raise. If I studied hard in school, I could have learned a lot more. So number 4, B. 5, if I saved my money, I wouldn't have had to borrow so much. So again the answers. Number 1, C. Number 2, D. 3, E. 4, B. 5, A. C. Add your own information to the clauses in column A, then comparing groups. So here, you make the sentence, you read the first part, and you answer by yourself. Example, if I'd listened to my parents, C, I would have made more pragmatic decisions. If I'd listened to my parents, I could have been happier. If I'd listened to my parents, I would have lived a wonderful life. If I'd been more active, I would have been the manager of my bank. I would have been I would have been the manager of the company. So here use your own answers.
76. Exercise 10. Pronunciation. Reduction of have and been. Part A. Listen and practice. Notice how have and been are reduced in these sentences.
I should have been less selfish when I was younger.
If I'd been more ambitious, I could have gotten a promotion.
Page 76. Notice how have and been are reduced in these sentences.
I should have been less selfish when I was younger.
If I'd been more ambitious, I could have gotten a promotion.
Used in these sentences.
I should have been less selfish when I was younger.
If I'd been more ambitious, I could have gotten a promotion.
So in this exercise we have the reduction of have and been. American been, British been. Reduction, shortage. So for example, I have, I've been, an American been. I should have been less selfish when I was younger. If I'd been, I had, I'd. If I'd been more ambitious, I could have gotten a promotion. I could have gotten a promotion. Here, number B, pair work. Complete the sentences and practice them. Pay attention to the reduced forms of have and been. So, there are different abbreviations, and you can find this in phonetics in the course of the American accent. Here, try to use these sentences and use have, if, and been. I should have been more ambitious when I was younger. I should have been punctual in high school. If I'd been more, I could have. If I'd been more active, I could have had a lot of money. If I'd been less, I would have. If I'd been less careless, I would have been rich. If I'd been less careless, I would have been successful. If I'd been less careless, I would have been successful. Exercise number 11, listening regrets. So in this exercise, you're going to listen to 3 people. You write in the first part, what is the regret and why does he or she regret it?
Page 76, Exercise 11, Listening. Regrets. Part A. Listen to people describe their regrets. What does each person regret? 1. Alex.
I should never have stopped exercising. It's the dumbest thing I've ever done. I've been trying to lose weight for the last year and a half, and it's really difficult. I guess I was just like everyone else at my age. I thought I would be thin forever, and I ate junk food all the time. It was okay then, because I was playing tennis, hockey, and soccer. Then after college, I got busy and quit playing sports. But now I'm determined to join a gym because I know I can't get healthy by just dieting. Besides, I love potato chips.
Number 1, Alex. What does he regret? Alex stopped exercising. Why does he regret it? He has been trying to lose weight. He has been trying to lose weight for the last year and a half. He has been trying to lose weight for the last year and a half.
2. Yan. If I'd had a choice, I would have learned to play the guitar when I was a kid. My parents made me study the piano, and I only studied classical music. I love the piano, but it's not very practical. I mean, you can't take a piano with you to a party. But I love it at a party when someone brings a guitar and they can play songs and everyone sings along. I wish I could do that.
2. What does she regret? She regrets she didn't learn to play the guitar. She didn't learn to play the guitar when she was a kid. Number 2. She didn't learn to play the guitar when she was a kid. Why does she regret it? She wishes she could bring a guitar to a party and play songs and have everyone sing a song. 3. Jacob.
I regret something I didn't do. I regret not going to Europe with my friends when I had the chance. It was the summer after we all graduated from college. I started to look for a job right away, but my friends went backpacking in Europe for a few weeks. I should have gone because I didn't get a job right away anyway, and my friends had an unforgettable time together. I regret it because they all had this amazing experience without me, and looking back, I could have and should have gone.
He regrets not traveling to Europe. He regretted because he didn't get this wonderful experience and he couldn't get a job. Exercise number 12. Look at the picture. What do you see? A young man is cooking. He's a chef. And you see here that there's a lot of smoke, so maybe the food is burning. He makes cookies. Exercise 12. Writing a letter of apology. Think about something you regret doing that you want to apologize for. Consider the questions below. Then write a letter of apology. What did you do? What were the consequences? Is there any way you can undo those consequences? Dear Jonathan, I'm really sorry. American sorry. I'm really sorry. I forgot to tell you that. I forgot to tell you that my party was cancelled. You worked so hard making all those cookies, so these are cookies. I should have called or sent you a text before you started baking them. But I got really busy at work and didn't get around to it. If I'd been more conscientious, I'd have plus PP. So this is of course an example of a letter of apology, to apologize about something, about a mistake. So this is going to be homework. You're going to write a letter of apology, dear, and the name of your friend, and you start to apologize and try to solve the problem or solve the mistake that you did it. Be peer work, read your partner's letter, talk about what you would have done if you had a similar regret. talk about what you would have done if you'd had a similar mistake. This is going to be homework. Try to do it by yourself. Milestones around the world. Milestones, important events. Scan the article. Where does each milestone take place? Where does each milestone occur, happen? Who is each milestone for? So here we can look at the pictures. We have 3 pictures, 3 events, 3 important events in different countries. The first one, look at the picture here. You see a lot of people, and there is a baby or 2 babies. The people are very happy. They put the babies into a small bed for babies. This is in Egypt. It's called Sbu'a. Sbu'a, this is an Arabic word. This is a celebration on the 7th day of the birth of the baby. Egypt. In Egypt, many families with new babies celebrate Sbu'a. El-Sbu'a, which means the 7th. Some say the ancient pharaohs believed that children who lived to be 7 days old were ready for a long and healthy life. So the ancient Egyptians, the pharaohs, thought that children who lived to be 7 days old were ready for long and healthy life. Family and friends meet at the parents' house, and the baby is put in a round wooden called orbal. Orbal, this word is Arabic word, so it means a very, very small bed for the baby. It's made of wood. Songs are sung, and the baby is rocked gently to awaken its sense. We try to shake the baby in a gentle way to awaken its senses. To awaken the senses such as hearing, smelling, touching, seeing. Salt is scattered to keep evil away. We throw the salt. Egyptians throw salt to keep evil away, and the mother carries the baby around the house. Children follow with light candles. The children go around the baby with light candles. Finally, bags full of candies, sweets, and gold and silver like coins are distributed to all attendees. So all the people who attend this wonderful celebration will give him ceramic box of sweets, candies, gold and silver like coins. Sometimes they'll put some cards with the name of the baby. The second country, look at the picture here. You see what? A young lady, and this is a cake. We call this cake multi-layered cake. This is a multi-layered cake. You have different layers, like 2, 3, 4 layers, and she's cutting the cakes. So this is Mexico. Families in Mexico and several other Latin American countries have a special celebration for La Quinceañera. This is, of course, a name, and this name is in Mexican language. So I don't know how to read it. The birthday, but it means the birthday girl who turns 15 years old. It marks a girl's passage. A passage here means time. This is a mark for the girl's time from girlhood to womanhood. So when the girl is 15 years old, that means she finished her childhood and girlhood to be a woman, wearing a spectacular dress, a wonderful, amazing dress, and carrying a bouquet of flowers. Means some flowers. The girl arrived at the church for Thanksgiving service. Then there is a party with live music. Live, this verb, I live, like I live in Cairo, I live in Egypt. But here it's an adjective. So we pronounce it live, which means happening now. So then there is a party with live music, dancing, and plenty of delicious food. Plenty, British. Plenty of means a lot of, more than enough. A lot of delicious food. An important moment is when the girl cuts a multi-layered birthday cake. This is a wonderful moment. Is when the girl cuts a multi-layered birthday cake. A cake which has different layers. So that was a celebration in Mexico. Look at the picture here. What you see? This is a young man. And the young man is what? Throwing himself. He jumps. He jumps from a high place. This is like a bridge. And he tied himself with vines on a single island. On a single island in the South Pacific nation of Vanuatu. So this is a place. It's an island in the South Pacific. Young men, like this one, young men hurl themselves. Hurl. The young men hurl, throw themselves from a 30-meter wooden tower with only vines tied around their ankles to break their fall. So they throw themselves from the height of 30 meters from a wooden tower. And they tie their ankles. This is part of their feet. Part of their feet, they tied it with vines. The original bungee jumpers, these land divers, jump to prove their manhood. So they do this to say that we are men. The goal is for the young man's shoulder to just touch the ground. So the shoulder must touch the ground. The vines measurement must be exact as there is no safety. So they must touch the ground and there is no safety. They don't put a net that if someone fell down, the net will protect him. No, it's not like the circus. If somebody fell down, he could die. When a young man jumps, his mother holds a favorite childhood item, one of his childhood things. After the jump, she throws the item away. She throws the item, demonstrating, showing that he is now a man. So after he jumps, he becomes a man. Let's get the exercises, please. Here, you're going to read the article. You find the word in italics in the article. Then match each word with its meaning. So this is going to be homework. You will find these words in the beginning of this video in the vocab. Then you check through the correct milestone for each description. You choose here the description related to Subuh in Egypt, or La Quinceañera, this is in Mexico, or like land diving on the island of the Pacific Ocean. C. Which of the milestones do you think is the most serious? Which is the most fun? Why do you think people celebrate milestones like these? So this is going to be a group discussion between you and your friends. Wish you all good luck. That's the end of unit number 11 part 2. And now let's get the homework. Number 1, keep the words by heart. Listen and repeat. Number 2, answer 3 pages of unit number 11 part 2 workbook. Number 3, go to www.cambridge.org/interchange-arcade/ You will have a lot of questions, grammar questions and vocabulary questions. 4, watch the video of Interchange 3 Unit 11. You'll have a wonderful video of Cambridge University. 5, watch the amazing video of Mr. Kyle Ralphson about the grammar. Hope you like it, share it, and subscribe. Wish you all good luck.